Hello and welcome back to Mars. I'm Mick, we're playing Stationeers. Now last time we got our Harvies automated using logic chips. Now these are fine if you want to just harvest perennials that don't have to replant themselves. And it was pointed out this one can be used to sort of as a batch ones there to sort of harvest them all. So what we need to do for that one is change you into a batch slot reader. Batch slot reader, which will be you. I need you. So you should be reading from the hydroponics device. You should be reading from the plant slot. You should be reading mature, because we just want to get the food. We're not too worried about the seeds with this one there. So we should read mature, and we should read the minimum. So with that one, they all have to be mature before they'll return a true. So if any of them are not mature, the minimum one will still be 0, and it'll read it the way we don't want it. So we should want to read from you. We should want to make sure it is equal to it equals 1, which gives us a true there. Now the logic reader for the Harvie can just read from any one of them there. It doesn't really matter because they'll all be synchronized. Now it was pointed out I could save a chip on that one there by losing you and just changing you to a math unary. Where are we? You there. Right. Why are you up to you? Just to there, and then I can change you to a not gate, which is not. There we go. So if that is a true, it's busy. That'll reverse that to a false. If it's false, not busy, that'll change that to a true. So we're reading in from the logic reader. We have a not, and that gives us a true because it's not busy. And that one is giving us a true because they are both equal to 1. So they are ready to harvest. Our output will have to become a batch writer. Batch writer, once again, we are reading in from the logic gate. We are reading out to Harvie, and we are writing to harvest. On, and I've got my gate switched off here. So you are coming in from the logic compare. You are coming in from the math unary. We're doing an and, so both of those two have got to be true. We have a true and a true. So if I switch that on, they should harvest. There we go. We still have a logic state of 1 in here because they are still mature. Next one they pick, that should go to a 0 because they are no longer mature plants. So Harvie should stop because this has gone to a 0, and we're all good. Right, so those ones are good for harvesting perennials. Now you could add up as many of them as you like along there. I mean, this is a really good one because we now have, let's come with our latest trade update, we have these ones here. These are our switchgrass. They are real grass. They are a spindly little grass plant that is used for biomass production. Actually real plants there. Would have been an interesting day in the art department when someone turns up and says, here, can you make a model of this spindly little plant like this? Yeah, you would have to quickly close the door and leave the art department before everything that's not nailed down gets thrown at you. Yeah, it's probably a similar day to what they had when they introduced the ferns to the art department. Sort of said, yeah, we're introducing a new plant. We want you to model a fern. A plant which has about the most complicated plant leaf structure you could imagine, and we don't want to keep it pretty simple because we don't want it to lag out the game. Yeah, and it's a national emblem of New Zealand, so you've got to do a good job of it. Yeah, you would have had to run pretty quickly after that one. But this one is made for biomass. You get 15 stacks of hay out of it, which you can then chuck. You can't replant the hay, but you can use it for chucking into your composter and producing big piles of poop. Cool. Now, you stopped. You've run out of water. Awesome. And the storm's coming. Right, so, yeah, we can use that for the biomass. That would be very handy. You can stack up a whole stack of them. Because these things can't replant, these ones are perennials as well, so you don't need to replant them. So you can just harvest massive amounts. I mean, they don't grow real quick. So, I mean, you don't really need the Harvies, but there's 15 of them to collect from each plant. So, yeah, I think I'll be using the Harvies for those ones there. But that's good to have there. It's come from the latest trade update. There's not a lot in the way of trade there. There's a few items there. But anyway, that's not what we're here about at the moment. We've got the new plants for them. So they are a dedicated biomass plant, which we will be using. It's a bit dusty in here. But anyway, let's wait for the storm to disappear, and I'll grab myself a chip, and we shall start building, automating our Harvies. And okay, storm is over. We're good to go again. Now I've hooked up my chip. We shall switch off the other bits and pieces here to not interfere. Now our IC circuit is hooked up here. That is the only thing we've got connected. Good. We can clear that one. Now for this one we shall just need the Harvie to D0, and we shall need the hydroponics. Hydroponics to D1. Right. Now I'll start. Give it a yield. Shall load into R0 from Harvie. Activate. Right, we shall say branch if not equal to 0. So if Harvie's busy, just go back to the start. We don't need to do anything else from there. Because Harvie's busy, no point checking anything else. Then we can just say load into, so it means if it's still here, it means Harvie's not busy. We can load into, well, we'll have to load slot because we're going to read from the hydroponics. Load into R0 from the hydroponics, spell it right, the mature. Load from slot 0, which is a plant slot. You mature. Right, if the mature is equal to 1, we can harvest. If it's not equal to 1, so branch not equal, so if R0, yes, briefly if R0 is not equal to that, right, so if R0 is not equal to 1, jump to the start again. Nothing more to do, the plant is not mature. So if we're still here, the Harvie is not busy and the plant is mature. So we can just then save to Harvie harvest 1 and jump to the start. And that's all it is there. So we've pretty much got a few lines of code. You've got one there to replace these set of chips here, and the next couple of lines replace these set of chips here, and then just last line write to Harvie to harvest, and that's all that one is there. So if I export that to the chip, I have code in there, excellent. Switch on, it gives me an error because I haven't connected the devices. That's the wrong one. There's my screwdriver. So for you, I need a Harvie 1, and we need our hydroponics 1. Right, switch you on, and you do nothing because the plant's not mature. But if we waited long enough, it would become mature and Harvie would harvest it, and that's kind of all you need. There's a number of things you could do with that. You could then pull out the efficiency is one of the items we've got on there, and you can then display that onto a display like I've got over here to tell you how well the plant's going. Holy crap, that's got big. Wow. It's the first time I've seen it get up to seeds. Okay, you only get one lot of seeds out of it. You don't get a big bunch of seeds either. It's actually really cool. Whole field of them. No, don't get distracted. Get back to what we're doing. You can hook up a display on them, so all you have to do is read the efficiency from this thing here and display it on a display, and it'll take up an extra slot on your chip, of course, but you can have this, you can have a display telling each one how it's going, or just hook up a light or something, but Harvie kind of tells you those things when things are going good or not. You probably don't need that too much, but it's up to you, whatever floats your boat, I guess. Now, because we've only got 2 things hooked up to this, we can actually get it to run 3 of these devices there, all running separately. I mean, you can use it to batch, right? You can change those to batch commands. Of course, you don't have a batch slot read, so you'll have to hook up a chip as well, and read from the chip and the Harvie. But what we can do here is, if you want them all to run with different plants, run on different cycles, you can actually have it change through 3 of them at once. One way we can do that is just by re-aliasing these things here. So from the start here, we can bring you into here 3 times, and I shall bring you into here. Oops, cut you there. Right, so if we're putting in our hydroponics to, I think I did hydroponics first, didn't I? Oh well, I'll say 0, 1 and 2 on those ones, and the Harvies can go into 3, 4 and 5. And from there we should define this as a new procedure. So check device. Boom. This will be a new procedure we put down here. So we want it to come down here. So then we shall say a branch. Oh, sorry. We shall jump and link to check device. If I can spell it right. Check device. Right, I'll copy that. You. So what we do is we just alias Harvie to these 2. We check the device, and when we do our check the device, we will want to come back to RA, not back to the start. So once it comes to there, it is check device and link, so it will store the return address into RA. So it'll check those, jump down to here, do that, and then jump back to where it called from, re-alias them, and check again. So it's just checking Harvie and hydroponics. It doesn't know what pins they actually are, because we just told them here which ones they are, and it'll move on to it. So now this one, it should be able to check 3 different devices there, and quite happily carry on. So if I export that one, it will, of course, what have you got red on there? Oh, no, we're good. It will give us a chuck of wobbly here because we don't actually have 3 devices attached. But we can actually hook them up. So if we got hydroponics device 1, Harvie 1, oops, hydroponics 2, and Harvie 2, but we don't have the third one hooked up, so we switch it on, it'll chuck a wobbly once it tries to check the third one. So what we can do there is to make it sort of more general purpose, is we can do some error checking down here. We can say branch device not set. So if Harvie, if there is no Harvie device attached, go back to where you were. Don't try checking them because they're not there. It'll just create an error. And we do the say branch device not set as well for hydroponics. Jump back to RA. So if I say that and export, it should be happy now. It'll check 2, realise the third one's not there, and just carry on without throwing an error. So we're all good now. So I can now hook up a third one, or just have the one, have the 2. It'll all run off the same code. I don't need to make any changes. All good. Now we can have it so, I mean, we won't always want it to be just hooking up perennials. We may want it to check for seeds as well. So we can make it so we've got to do certain things to get there. So first up, we're going to say if Harvie's busy, we don't want to do anything there. If it's not mature, it doesn't have seeds, so as it can go back there as well, not a problem. Now we're going to have to check for seeds. Now we want to make something general purpose. We may want seeds, we may not, so we can define something up to start here. We should just define a user variable there for get, I don't know, be constant, get seeds, and I guess we'll just set that to 1 when we want to get seeds, or 0 if we don't want to get seeds. So how are we going to do that there? We say if Harvie's busy, no need to check any further. If it's not mature, no need to check any further. It's not mature, it doesn't have seeds, nothing to do there. So next one up, if it is mature, it may or may not have seeds. So we need to do our seed check there. So we shall load slot into R0 hydroponics slot 0 seeding. Now, if it is, crap. So we shall branch less than, so if R0 is less than get seeds, skip out of it. Right, so the way we'll do this one here is we shall say, we shall say, do we want seeds? We shall say -1 is no seeds, and we'll say 0 is yes. Right, so if our get seeds is -1, we won't get seeds. So we should say the seeds will be it'll be mature, the seeds will be -1. We say if -1 is less than -1, skip back, -1 is not less than -1, so we can harvest it. Right, yes will be 0, so we can say, so hydroponics, that just doesn't work, does it? Right, so if we do want seeds, we give it a 0 for a yes. Right, when there are seeds, it'll be 1. Is 1 less than 0? No, it's not. Harvest it. Right, is 0 less than 0? No, it's equal to 0. Harvest. Then it'll change back to -1, and it'll say, is mine, well, mature will go back to 0 as well, so it'll skip out there. But when mature is there, if you want seeds, it'll be saying -1. Is -1 less than 0? Yes, it is. Don't harvest. Right. So that should do it. It'll wait for seeds, depending on what we've got there. I mean, it's a bit backward there, sort of saying -1 for a no and 0 for a yes, but get over it. Probably other ways around that, but that's pretty neat. That should work. And if we export that, we see it is waiting for seeds. Great demonstration. Awesome. I might actually have to clear one of you out, so be gone with you. Let's put in a potato. I think I got some of them everywhere. Oop, here we go. That grass looks so cool. Imagine a whole field of that. Come on, get on with it. Stop squirreling. Right, now the potato is not a perennial. So once it has picked all of them, it will have to replant again. I've just thrown my potatoes away, haven't I? Oh, here's another stack. And we... Oh, it does. Okay. Right, so once that is gone, it'll have to replant. So we shall want another step in there. So that's handling all of the harvesting. So when we read our mature, if it's not equal to 1, just scoot out of there. But there is another case there. So we shall say branch equal, so if R0 is equal to a -1. So if the mature is 0, it's not mature. If it's 1, it's fruit on it. If it's -1, it means there's nothing there. So we shall make another function called a plant, which we haven't made yet. Plant and save Harvie. Plant 1 and it should jump back to RA. Now we haven't got a memory leak there because we jumped from here to here and then back to RA. So we are not filling up our stack. Well, I don't think it fills a stack. So if we export that, we should still be good. And it doesn't need to plant anything, so it's quite happy. But if I clear you, you should plant. Great demonstration. Awesome. Okay, so that's not working. Oh, I know what I've done. I haven't gone back to the start, have I? Try that one, you dildo. Right, so now if I clear you, you realise it's there and you replant it. Okay, right. Yep, there you go, get it right. Okay, so that's taking care of the planting. Now, there's a couple of other things you can do. You can sort of check, well, I suppose we can check and see if there's fertiliser in there. Now that we've got our fertiliser coming out, you're not pooping out more fertiliser? Well, we've got plenty of fertiliser here. Now we can check and see if it wants fertiliser. You may not want fertiliser, so let's define another variable up here. We shall use fertiliser. That one I think we can just go for a yes, no. It'll be confusing because it'll be different, won't it? 0 for no, and 1 for boop. Yes. Right, so before we plant, we can say load into R0 from the hydroponics slot 1, which is the fertilizer slot. Quantity Now we shall say branch, do the same thing, branch less than, if R0 is less than the used fertilizer, jump back to R8, don't need to plant it. Let's actually put that below then, shall we? Put that up to there. Right, so if you do have it in there, it doesn't jump out of there and it will plant. That's okay, right. So we're telling it we do want fertilizer. You okay? Right. Oh, I've got an error. Load slot. Thank you. Back online. Now, you're not planting because you do not have fertilizer. Now, put you in there and you do. Right. So that way we'll wait for fertilizer. If I change that back to, we don't want to wait for fertilizer. Right. Now, it didn't wait for fertilizer that time. Okay. So that one is working. You can check for other things as well if you like. You can check for water. Not a lot there, but it doesn't need a lot. You can check for water, temperature. You can check for pressure. So we can do that easy enough as well. Before we plant, we can say load into R0 from the hydroponics temperature. Right, so we shall branch less than, if it is too cold, if R0 is less than, was it 5 degrees? So 278. Don't plant. If it is too hot, about 50 degrees I think, 323, don't plant. You can check for the quantity. Load into R0 hydroponics pressure. So we can say branch equal to 0. So if R0, there's no water pressure there, don't plant. Just skip back to the start. There's all sorts of things you can check there as well. You're not aware of what the room environment is, so you can have another chip. I've got a blue one here which is controlling the gas sensors up here in the room. You can check what the environment is. You can check temperature and all that sort of stuff, and when it thinks that it's safe, it can actually batch write out all the housings there, one to the housings, just to let you know it is safe to actually plant stuff in there. So we can bring that in as well. So before it plants, we can say load into R0 from the housing, the setting, and we can say set branch equal to 0. So if the housing is set to 0, it's not safe to plant. If it's set to 1, it is safe to plant, so keep going. Right, but if you're not using one of them, that's not going to work. So up the top here we shall save to go just down here, just at the start before we go into the main loop, we shall save to the DB the setting 1. So it will, first thing it'll do is set the setting of the housing to 1. So if you're not using a greenhouse monitor or a greenhouse manager which uses that, it sets itself to 1 at the start, so it will always stay at 1, and your thing will keep working. So that's taken there. You can also check Harvie and make sure there is something there to plant. So we can load a load slot into R0 from from Harvie, the input slot 0 quantity, and we shall say branch equal to 0. If there's nothing in the input chute, no point trying to plant it. So if R0 is equal to 0, just scoot out of here and don't bother trying to plant it. So if it passes, if there is something there, the room is safe. If we've got fertiliser, if we need it, if the temperature water is okay, if there is water there, then we can plant. If it doesn't have all of them, don't plant, because it's not safe. But if you're using perennials, it'll never try and plant, so don't worry about it. Right. So that should be something pretty good. Now, is that going to work? No errors? Right, so let's say use fertiliser. So if we put you to 1, we say get seeds. Get seeds is 0, isn't it? What am I doing? Gee, that's not confusing at all. I've already confused myself on that one. So if we say that, export that, if I clear you off, there's nothing there. It shouldn't plant because there's nothing in there and there's no fertiliser. If I give it some fertiliser, it shouldn't try and plant because it's got nothing to plant. And if I give it some stuff, more taties, now it'll plant. Right, there we go. So it is waiting until everything is safe to plant, and then it plants. I can hook up another set of these ones there, and I won't have to make any changes to the code. Of course, all of them have got to be set on the same settings here, because all 3 of them have got to, you can't get seeds from one and not from the other one. So it's got to be get seeds from all 3 or none of them. Same with the fertiliser, all of them or none of them. But that seems to be a fully functional post-farming update chip there. So if I copy this to our chips over here, they should all run. Okay, so here we go. We have a lot of these have reached, they are all pumpkins, tomatoes. They have all got, there's some seeds there. It should harvest the seeds regardless. And a couple there with seeds, a couple there. So if we switch them on, they are set up to 4 chips. These are set to device 1 1, 1 2, 1 3, 2 1, 2 2, 2 3, 3 and 4, etc. etc. So now if I switch these ones on, this is the first bank of them over there. If I switch that on, it should harvest everything. Oh, except for you because you're not ready. Nice. And you're the next lot at 2. Away we all go, and 3 and 4. Nice, you've now picked everything. You've gotten all the seeds. You've picked everything else. And you've all stopped. Well, I think that's pretty successful. So now they just keep harvesting all the perennials. None of them have to plant again because I have just tomatoes and pumpkins in there. I may have to put in a heap of these things over there. I should set up a heap of biomass which I can feed into you, which you've stopped for some reason. You must have run out, I'm guessing. Used up all of my biomass, so I can make some more fertiliser. and we should be good. Whee. Splat. I love that sound. Anyway, so there we go. We have our fully automated Harvie. We have our new pushers. They are so cool. I'm going to plant a heap of them. Okay, so that is a successful bit of Harvie code. It is post-farming, so it is works with the new seeding ones there. It will do, I think, everything I can want. You can get it to use fertilizer, you can get it to wait for seeds, you can get it to not wait for seeds. It'll work with perennials, it'll work with the other type of not perennials, plants that you've got to plant. There's probably a name for them. We can just, once again, we can just put up a simple bit of code to batch write all of those ones. I can put up a ton of them there and just have a single code which is just batch writing off everything there. So we'll need a batch reader to read from all of them. A batch, a code can batch write out to the Harvies to get them all to write. Then that'll do a whole room with one chip. We'll manage as many of those as you like. And I say if you plant them all out with our new biomass crops, these ones here, you're probably not going to need many of them to give yourself a crap load of biomass to keep you going. I think that's about all we got to do. That is a fully functioning one. It does everything we want it to do. If there's anything else we want it to do, I don't know what that is. So we'll call that a win. Harvie's back up and running. If Harvie knows how to handle a new post-farming seeds, so we'll probably leave it at that one there. I'll put the new code up on the workshop and just give it a bit more tests and make sure it is working, and that'll probably do us there. So, but anyway, that'll do us. So till next time, happy building. See ya.